Welcome back to my channel. I am finally filming the Q&A that I promised you for passing 1,000 subscribers. First of all, thank you so much for subscribing and sticking with me. I know it's a really small channel right now, but it's a space that I consider dear to my heart, and I'm happy to be able to share my daily life with you guys. After I posted the Google form for the Q&A questions on my community forum, I received about 45 questions. I went through all of your questions. I'll be talking about just general about me questions. I'll be talking about marriage and married life, and teaching and teacher life, and future plans. I like the color black, and my favorite scent is laundry, fresh laundry. My favorite foods include Mexican tacos with lots of cilantro, Thai curry, especially green curry with eggplant in it. I also really love samgyeopsal and hangjeongsal. Favorite Netflix show? I watch a mix of shows on Netflix. My husband and I have been enjoying watching Schitt's Creek. It's really funny, and if you like American comedy shows, I highly recommend it. The Korean drama that I've been watching recently on Netflix is Nabilera. It's about a grandpa that wants to pursue his childhood dreams of becoming a ballerina, and it is so good. I also enjoy a mix of crime/murder shows or movies on Netflix. I've watched the Nightcrawler one recently. Very scary, but I don't know. I'm fascinated by true crime stories or shows. I've taken the MBTI test a couple of times, and every single time I take it, I get ESTJ. Everything happens for a reason. I would have to say the Maldives is quite up there on my list. We went there for our honeymoon, and it was beautiful. I do have it uploaded on my channel. I'll link it up here for you to watch in the cards if you're interested. We really love road trips. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that we go to different places by car a lot. We really enjoyed Yosemite, Lake Tahoe, and just camping venues around the OC. Long story short, when I was 10 years old, my family and I moved from Korea to Canada, and then after living there for about 4 years, we moved to the United States. From 2014 to 2019, I lived in Korea, and that's when I got married and was working in Korea. Somebody asked me, what did I do while living in Korea? And I think they're asking me about what job I had. I was also teaching in Korea. The camera that I'm filming on right now is the Canon G7X Mark III. I will sometimes use my iPhone 12 or our drone, the DJI Mini 2, or our GoPro, which is the Hero 9 Black. Rewind to year 2013, spring. That's so long ago. We met through some friends in San Francisco. He was traveling / doing a language exchange up in Seattle. We hung out, and that was it. We were Facebook friends, and we were keeping in touch. And then in summer of 2013, he decided that he wanted to fly back to San Francisco to see me, and the rest is history. Since I was still working and living in the States, and he had to go back after a couple weeks spent in California, we decided to have a long distance relationship for a year. And during that year, I found a job in Korea and moved to Korea in 2014 summer. No, English is not his native language. His first language is Korean, and that's the language he is most fluent in. He also speaks conversational / intermediate Mandarin. He lived in China with his family for several years when he was in high school and middle school. I talked to him about this question, and he has a few strategies that he wanted to recommend. The first one is to watch Friends, to just watch and listen for the pronunciation, the vocabulary, the culture of the interactions, and some slang as well. He'll first watch it with captions, and then he'll watch it again without captions and see if he picks up the English without having to read the subtitles. He also watches CNN or other news videos on YouTube. He reads books like this at home because of my job. I have a collection of children's books and novels in my house, and he'll pick one up and read it out loud, and it really helps with fluency and vocabulary as well as pronunciation. For speaking practice, he recommends that you get a lot of exposure, so hang out with people that speak English as their native language, and even if you feel shy or uncertain, a little bit afraid to put together sentences, just go for it. Something that I really admire about Nathan is that he's really confident and very sure of himself, even in situations that make him feel uncertain. So ever since we moved to America, he's been working in a company that uses English. He has been getting so much better, and I'm very proud of the progress. We've been together for about 8 years now, so we've had a lot of time to get to know each other and figure out what the other person likes and dislikes and what makes them upset and disappointed. So obviously, because we love each other, we'll try to avoid those things, but we're human, we make mistakes, so we do have our arguments and disagreements, but we're at a point where we can sit down and talk honestly about how I feel or he feels, and we try our best to understand each other that way. Even if we conclude that our thoughts or opinions are different, we still respect that. We have similar interests, we enjoy the same things, we love to eat, we love to go to the beach, see the mountains, go camping, do new things together. So having a lot in common really helps a lot. At the same time, we have very different personalities. For example, he is very optimistic, easygoing, chill, go with the flow. I'm very organized. I like plans to work out the way I planned it. I stress a lot, I worry a lot. So sometimes we'll have clashes because of those personality differences, but most of the time I feel like that is what makes us work. If I'm really stressed and I'm worrying about something, he'll come in and be like, that's okay, see it from this perspective or think about it this way, and it helps me to calm down, and I'm very thankful that I have someone who helps me do that. We were actually not planning to settle down in Irvine when we first moved back to the States. We were hoping to move to a different city or even state, but those plans fell completely through, and we found ourselves asking, where do we go now? What do we do? Do we go back to Korea? Do we stay here? We just decided to settle down in Irvine. We are happy with the decision, and at first we were disappointed that our initial plans didn't work out, but now looking back, like I said, for my motto, everything does happen for a reason, and we completely enjoy living in Irvine. Cleanliness, safety, good school district, easy to navigate and convenient to live in. For cons, I will just say the obvious one. The living expenses are very high here in Irvine, so rent and housing are expensive, and living costs in general are pretty high. The main reason I became a teacher goes way back to 5th grade. When I first moved to Canada, I knew zero English. I did not know the country. I did not know the culture. I did not know what was polite, what was impolite. What will my friends be like? Will anyone even like me? Has anyone even seen an Asian person before? I had all these questions in my head. My teacher, I still remember her name, Miss Weeb. She was the most amazing teacher. She made sure that I felt like I belonged in the class by allowing me to express myself in different ways. For example, she knew I played the piano, so she asked me if I would like to play the piano for chapel each morning. I went to a Christian school, so we had a service, like a short chapel time in the morning before classes started. I even played piano during parent-teacher conferences when parents would wait for their turn in the lobby, which was the school library. So I sat at the piano there and played jazz music just in the background, and I really enjoyed it. When I got into my teacher education program, I found my teacher's email address on the internet, and I emailed her and just basically told her, you are the reason I became a teacher. I did get a response and she told me that she remembers who I am, and I still have that email, and I think I'm going to keep that email and look back on it every chance I get. For my undergrad, I went to University of California, Berkeley, majored in social welfare, and minored in education. For graduate school, I went to Stanford University Graduate School of Education and received my master's in elementary teaching and also my elementary teaching multiple subject credential. Oh man, I feel like I have a lot. I remember feeling really proud of myself at the end of the teacher education program. I still have this notebook that I worked on when I was attending Stanford, and I'll show you a little bit of it now. Maybe in a teaching Q&A video, I can discuss a little bit more about what's inside. I even have photos of stuff in here, notes, pages and pages of notes that I kept in little papers. Even posters. I don't know. This is how hard I studied to become a teacher. I should show this to my students. A time I felt discouraged. I continued to live in Berkeley after I graduated, and I actually commuted from Berkeley to Stanford every single weekday and every other Saturday as well. So I would wake up at 6:30, drive an hour and a half, fight my tired eyes, like scream and sing in the car, do whatever I needed to stay awake. Have student teaching from 8 to like 12, then a lunch break, and then I have classes from like 1 to 6, and then I would get home at 8 p.m., eat dinner, do my homework, sleep, and repeat. I've only worked in public schools in the United States, so I can't really speak for private schools. But I think that they're quite similar in the interviewing and hiring process. You will most likely start with a general interview about yourself. Why do you want to teach? Why do you want to teach at this school? What vision or philosophy from the school resonates with you? Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? What are your strengths and weaknesses as a teacher? Sometimes you will have to teach a demo lesson on the same day as your interview. They'll let you know ahead of time if you need to prepare one. I think I had my demo lesson on the same day as my interview for my first job. So I went in ready with posters and lesson plans and different activities for students to do. It kind of sounds daunting now that I think about it. It is scary. I will never feel comfortable with an interview even after 9 years of teaching. I will be nervous every single time. Education that is students first. Working as a teacher, it is very, very difficult to focus on just what the students want and need. There are just so many things that you have to take into consideration. Talking with parents, meeting the state standards, test scores, your classroom environment, your personal life, your boss, your team. This is something that I still try to work on. I'm not perfect. I am not the greatest teacher in the world. I still try very hard to meet the students' needs on a daily basis. And I just make sure that every day is a new clean slate for them to feel successful and to enjoy. Working in an American style classroom in English as your main and probably only language, unless you work in a bilingual school, I would say your level of English proficiency has to be quite high. I used to be a very impatient person, and teaching has helped me to be more patient. I remember in the beginning, I was like, they're so slow. Why are they writing their name for 5 minutes, literally? But now I'm just like, that's their pace and it's cute. They need this time to feel independent and have ownership of their learning. I think it helps to be funny, to be witty, kind of on the spot, do something silly. You have to be very open and vulnerable as well. The kids learn a lot from what you do and what you say, and they'll mimic that a lot by making mistakes and being like, oh, you know, as a teacher, I still have to work on these skills, and you can too on the skills that you need help on. There are so many strategies that I believe in and use all the time for classroom management, but just to touch on it briefly, I do things like student jobs. I make sure that every student has a job. I have jobs like line leader, line caboose, that's the last person in line, electrician, they turn on and off the lights, librarian, they take care of the classroom library, technician, anything technology related, they will take care of. I have group leaders because they're usually sitting in table groups, not right now with COVID, but before. And student teacher, I just make up all these jobs. You can get a ton of ideas on Pinterest or even just Google. Kids love it, and I switch them up every week so that they get a chance to do different jobs. They feel responsible, they feel like they own the class, they feel like they're helping the classroom, they're helping the teacher, and they love that. I feel like the first 2-3 years, I would just feel super nervous for them because you don't know what to expect. It really helps to make sure you start every single conversation with parents with a positive. I like the way so-and-so comes into the class each morning and smiles and greets the teacher and their friends. Just something as simple as that. And then when you address the difficulties or the challenges that you have with a child, you want to word it in a way that is constructive. So you want to say, something that this student can work on is this, and you can help and support your child to develop these skills by doing this. You need to add how you as a teacher are going to help the student achieve this goal. Putting yourself in there and also the parent as a team for the student to help them succeed is very powerful. Pros, you get to work with kids. If you like kids, that's a huge plus. They are funny, they are cute creatures. They make me laugh every single day, even for the smallest things. No one in your life is going to compliment you and admire you as much as a student will in a classroom. They'll ask me questions about, where's Mr. Lee? Or what did you do on the weekend? I wonder what your house looks like. You look beautiful today. It's just sweet. Who doesn't want that? And another one, vacation time. You get winter break, summer break, spring break, and all your holidays off. A con would be, it takes a lot of energy. The fact that you have to be on all the time. Even when the students are doing their own work, it's your job to walk around, make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. If there is a person that is struggling, you help them understand the concept. You're reteaching, and monitoring, and supervising constantly. When I come home, I just like to be in silence. I'll listen to music once in a while, but sometimes it's to the point where I don't even want to hear my own voice. The answer is I don't manage my work life and lesson planning very well, but I'm happy to say that at this point, I'm able to get all of my work done on the weekdays and then save Saturdays and Sundays for my family and me time and meeting with friends and just relaxing. That still means that my weekdays are pretty hectic. To be honest, I don't have a definite answer because plans change. You never know what's going to happen in the future. I'm very satisfied with the way I was brought up, so I would be happy if my child also had a similar experience living several years in Korea to learn the language and culture and traditions and stuff. We also have our extended families living in Korea. It would be great if our kids can spend time with their grandparents and cousins and aunts and uncles in Korea. What do I want to buy? I would love to have a Leica camera, a digital one with high quality, with really soft, warm colors. I think they cost like $10,000. So I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, but a girl can dream. I don't really have anything else I want to buy, I don't think. My husband really wants to go to Bora Bora. That's been on his list for a long time. And for me, I want to go travel Europe. We've never been to Europe and I would love to go. I would first recommend that you explore the area around your city. Buy a national parks pass. That is super useful. We buy it every year. When you buy this pass, you can go to any national park in the nation for 1 year. Money-wise, it's like $80, but every time you go into a park, it's 20 to 30. So when you visit 3 parks, you already got your money's worth. My husband's dream is to visit every single national park in the United States. If you have plans on visiting the West Coast, I have several places I would like to recommend. First, Big Sur. We went there recently for Nathan's birthday. It is beautiful. Yosemite, Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is amazing for summer and winter. In the winter, you can go and enjoy the snow and go snowboarding or skiing or sledding. In the summer, it is warm and the lake is clean enough for you to swim in. There are a ton of camping sites that you can enjoy. I highly recommend it. I don't want to speak for everyone, but if I were raising my own kids, I would want to make sure that they have a good knowledge of the Korean language before they speak English and learn English. I think it would be best if you could speak Korean at home. Once kids go into school and they speak English all day long, they're gonna pick it up no matter what. When I got to college, I had forgotten a lot of the Korean that I knew when I was younger. I watched a lot of Korean shows. I watched a lot of dramas and a lot of reality shows like 예능, and I had Korean friends. I would recommend that you set up play dates with other children that speak Korean so that your children can have that practice and interaction, because no matter how much they speak Korean outside of school, they're going to be speaking English in school. I totally feel that way, and pretty often too. I used to feel like the better degree you have, the better job you have, the more money you make, that is what makes you valuable and makes you happy. Recently, I lost someone who is very close to me, someone I admire. This was the first time I experienced the loss of someone who was actually in my family that I interacted with a lot. And the grieving and the time spent honoring and remembering this person reminded me that time is so short. Life is so short, and every minute spent not focusing on the people I love is just a minute wasted. I tell Nathan all the time, like, I already miss you. I already miss you and you're still here. I already feel like there's not enough time to spend with you. I already feel like time is running out. And he's like, oh my gosh, Jenny, just enjoy the moment. Just enjoy now. My biggest goal now is to not regret anything. And I think that if I spend every moment I can with the people I love, doing things I love, that's enough. I would just say to you, look around you, look at the person you love next to you, just spend time with them and enjoy. That's all I have to say. That was a lot of questions. Thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for asking me such meaningful questions. It is my hope that some part of my Q&A resonated with you and gives you inspiration or clarity on anything that you were curious about. Thank you so much for watching and just being a part of my life.